morning, everyone. I am Jack Madrid, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we spotlight the titans of technology who shape our future. We're not just talking about success stories, we are diving deep into their hearts and minds to see what drives them as we decode the future one digital dialogue at a time. In today's digital age, the game is changing fast, and the only way to win is to invest in what matters the most, and that is people. Technology is not just redefining how we work, it is about rewriting the rules entirely. Upskilling is no longer optional, it is the ticket to competing and thriving in a future powered by AI, cloud, computing, and emerging technology. The question is, how do we prepare the Filipino workforce to lead us in this new era? To help us unpack this critical conversation, we have with us today a trailblazer in the tech space. He has been at the forefront of Microsoft Philippines' push for digital empowerment, driving initiatives that transform talent into game changers. Let us give a big welcome to the CEO of Microsoft Philippines, Peter Maquera. Peter, pleasure to have you here as always.
Good morning, Jack. Thank you as well for having me.
You know, Peter, let's kick this off. You know, we have heard all the talk about how AI is disrupting the Philippines IT BPM sector. And as you and I have talked about before, our industry is the economic crown jewel. So my first question is, you know, in the coming 3 years, which of the more traditional jobs, in your opinion, will either disappear, transform, or emerge?
Yeah, I think, Jack, in my view, what everybody's worried about, I think AI, at least in the next 3 years, I would think about it in terms more of augmenting than replacing. And what I like to say is the amazing thing about generative AI is, you know, you've lowered the bar to access the most amazing technologies, no matter what you do. So my expectation, especially in the BPO industry, is you're just going to become more amazing at customer service, at more of the back office processes that you do. So that's what we're seeing with the current jobs today. And in terms of new jobs that would emerge, I guess the ones that you hear most about relate to AI types of jobs, like, you know, whether you're in machine learning or you're in data science. So those would be more the sciences, but you can also be an AI strategist. You can also be an AI product engineer, an AI marketer. So I think what's important to remember, like anything else, is you can be a lawyer and learn how to use an AI tool to be a better lawyer, to be a better doctor. So I think it's augmenting skills is what's important to keep in mind.
That's a powerful word indeed, and it's something that you know, I also try to use when I'm asked the same question. You've talked about some of these roles, but maybe you can expound, Peter, on what are the other roles? You've mentioned data science, analytics, but what are some of these new emerging roles and work types that our digital Filipino workers should be gunning for, you know, as we compete, you know, with other destinations?
Yeah, so I guess that's what I was trying to hone in on. So let's say today, let's say we use this product CoPilot, right, in terms of, let's say, helping a recruiter. When you were a recruiter, you perhaps needed to write the job description, and you needed to do all this analysis of 100 resumes that you might get, and it might take you however long, right? It might take you a week or two, right? Now with CoPilot and AI, you automatically, or it gets you that first draft of your job description almost immediately. You can parse through 100 resumes almost immediately, but you're still the recruiter, right? So you just now have these amazing tools that removed a lot of the drudgery and made the recruiting job much more higher value. right?
So from recruiter to super recruiter.
To super recruiter.
Our agents
to
will
an
become...
empowered recruiter. And you can say that about finance, legal, marketing. You can say that about anything. That's why I was distinguishing with, there's the current jobs of today that you become even more powerful in. And then there's new engineering jobs around AI because it's such a new industry. Prompt engineering, right? Creating an AI strategy, right? So those jobs still exist, except now you're dealing with new tools, new enablers.
So humans may not necessarily be replaced then by AI, but maybe humans who know how to use AI tools. So that's the key. How do we train our workers to use these tools?
Well, you did say 3 years, so I think I think we'll still be here 3 years from now. No, I think that it's changing really fast, and you know, I benefit from seeing, you know, what we call win wires, right? So every time somebody wins an AI project with a customer across the world, you know, I get to see it, and we're seeing a lot of adoption, especially with the major, you know, Global 2000, let's call it. But you know, I haven't really heard, there's isolated instances of mass layoffs, but I think that the demand for the new jobs is going to be much higher. So it's really all about how we reskill and upskill those people.
Yeah, I have a question for you later on the specific skills. But I wanted to ask you, you know, Peter, you've you know, in our podcast, the IBPA podcast, Promptly Speaking, you got our viewers pretty excited about Microsoft CoPilot. So now we have our TV audience. Can you unpack that, break it down for us? What exactly is this CoPilot tool and how do we use it?
Yeah. How long was it ago when you would look at a computer screen, it was just green, and to be able to use it, you needed to know how to write code? Right? And then how long, maybe it was 10 years later, you got the graphical user interface with Apple, and soon came Windows. So it became much easier to understand. You would just click on icons. Perhaps what would be really helpful to everyone is AI or CoPilot is the next interface to AI. And it's multimodal. So you can chat with it in natural language to access this amazing technology behind it, or you can speak to it, right? So that's what I'm saying, multimodality. So it's your new interface to AI.
Wow.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's now get, okay, go ahead.
I wonder, because CoPilot is also our brand. And I wanted to make sure that I say this because it was very intentional to say the design for our AI is always humans at the center. You are just getting a co-pilot. You are still the pilot.
Powerful image there. So we treat co-pilot as your...
I gave you a lightsaber, so you can be a Jedi master.
Correct. So
but it's still you.
It's still me.
You're still Luke Skywalker.
I become a super recruiter. I become a super agent.
Right. That's how we see it.
With CoPilot. So that's a very powerful image, and how we should view how to use AI and CoPilot. Let's go to skills, Peter. Based on your experience, I mean, you have vast experience. You were in the BPO industry once upon a time. Then you had a great run.
I think grandfather at this point.
In Globe, and now you're at the helm of Microsoft. But given all that experience, in your experience and opinion, what are the 10 must-have skills for Filipino IT BPM professionals to thrive in this soon-to-be co-pilot-powered workforce?
Yeah, I was wondering about that question 10. Can I not give you 10? Can I give you 1? I think it's fundamentally what we call in Microsoft. You can imagine in Microsoft, right? There's just so much to keep up with. There's just so much innovation, and we're doing roadmaps shaping the future for 10 years out. And there's a lot of things that'll happen 10 years from now that you can't even possibly anticipate. So the reason that I'm saying, can I just tell you one? And it's really what we call a growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
And it's that willingness to disrupt yourself. It's that embracing that things will change and you are going to be an early adopter and pick it up and learn it, right? And what I also try to remind people is, we're so early in the AI race. Nobody is really that far ahead. So just get moving, embrace it. So if you're a BPO employee, I think chances are your company will have new tools that enable you with AI. You're not having to even be a data scientist. You're not having to necessarily study machine learning. You're just needing to understand that new AI tool to understand your customer better, to anticipate their questions better so that you can provide better customer service. The most amazing thing about the AI of today is it's context-based, right? So it knows the context, and before you had to program and anticipate the logic of a conversation, it actually has logic.
And it's getting smarter as you go on, right?
So imagine that as your CoPilot to then be able to interact with customers better.
As long as it doesn't get much smarter than me.
Well, you said 3 years, so I think we're okay. I think the bar will just get higher and higher. But again, to us, it's always humans at the center.
So my takeaway there, Peter, is commit to this growth mindset.
Learn. For you to evolve, you need to disrupt. You need to change, right? So that's how you grow, right? You have to learn new things. You have to have new experiences. You have to adapt.
And what I also tell my team is let's get used to being occasionally uncomfortable, right? You can't always be comfortable.
Or get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
Embrace it, because that's part of the growth process.
I mean, that's what the future of work certainly looks like. You mentioned the word race. And, while the Philippines is a world capital in IT, BPM, and BPO, India is number one and will probably always be. But it has also become quite the AI powerhouse through their digital India program and the strong partnerships they have between the academe and industry. They've also become, I would say, a global capability center powerhouse. Now, I want the Philippines to be number two. How can we do that, Peter? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've done a lot of work in India. I used to have a lot of people in the companies that I've managed in India. I don't see that India innately have anything that the Philippines don't have, right? So again, I think it's the intentionality, right? So, for instance, what industry, if you're trying to be number two, and what industry are you after, and let us upskill specific to that industry, and let us seek out partnerships, those companies, those investors, and give them the red carpet to come to our industry versus come to the Philippines instead of India or elsewhere. So I would recommend that there's nothing holding us back, but perhaps we could be much more intentional about where we want to be differentiated and be the country of choice.
Okay. We're going to have to take a quick break. Industry Beacon will be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Industry Beacon and here on BNC. And still with us is the CEO of Microsoft Philippines, Peter Maquera. Peter, we've talked about Microsoft in the Philippines, and it continues to make these big bets on AI, workforce development to be specific. Can you describe to our audience some of the groundbreaking initiatives in this space?
Yeah, so what we tend to do in terms of skilling, we have a lot of skilling programs. We're doing a lot of work with, say, Department of Education. There's 800,000 teachers with access to Office 365, and a lot of this is available for free to 25 million students of Department of Education. We committed to 100 pathway for cybersecurity and AI learning with TESDA for 100,000 learners. We're often supporting and sponsoring hackathons and go-to-market initiatives with the partner ecosystem and with industry. We just had a Tech Bayanihan that was attended by a lot of state universities and a lot of our partners. So we're trying to actually reach everyone because our mission is to enable and empower everyone in every organization.
So tell us a little bit more about these 800,000 teachers. What can they do with this access? How is it helping them?
Yeah, so well, it's for instance, you can go on Teams and use it for reading, to evaluate the reading of students. In South America, we used AI to parse through 300 million high school essays, and it helped the teachers pinpoint which students need help in grammar, in sentence structure, how to write better. So these are just some examples of how AI is disrupting education. I think you may have heard Khan Academy just launched a partnership with Ayala and DepEd to try to use AI to improve the PISA scores. So you have more effective teachers, you get better performing students. So Khan Academy in their Khan Migo app sits on Microsoft Azure. So we have a whole partner ecosystem that we work with in different dimensions.
That's good to hear because in our conversations with DepEd, we hear about the administrative workload of public school teachers. So hopefully this will help ease that burden.
Even just doing lesson plans, right? So it can help go a long way to automate best practice lesson plans, depending on the curriculum, or evaluating and helping review the quality of the coursework. Right, or even just learning how to be a better teacher.
So this is already being used
to some degree.
Actively.
I think we have, many more. The pathway is still a lot of opportunity, but there's.
Is there a lot of training needed for our teachers to use these tools? But
I think so, absolutely, because a lot of times when we invest or when people adopt our technology, we make a lot of investments in helping to migrate to the platform and helping to upskill how you use the platform. So it's part of what we do.
Okay, great. Let's now talk about the roles each of the stakeholders in our ecosystem, how that all interplays. So in your opinion, Peter, how do you believe government, universities, and tech giants like, big tech like Microsoft and the rest, how do you guys divide and conquer this really transformative future of work that we are experiencing?
Yeah, what an incredible question. And Jack, I would say I'm proud and I'm encouraged that there's a lot of conversations going on. There's a lot of activities happening. And with all due respect to all the stakeholders, as you say, maybe I'm just not aware, but I hope the next stage is a greater intentionality and focus. For instance, when we talk about skilling, I hope we're not just skilling. I think it's okay to get foundational skills. But ultimately, what actually is your objective for the skilling? And how are you measuring it to then claim success? For instance, say if you went to, in a lot of the US rankings for colleges, they will rank based on how many kids, the graduates, get jobs before they graduate and what the salary was. Were they getting higher than the median? So if we're going to have an AI curriculum, and if we're going to require our kids to study AI in whatever, engineering or law or business, how many of those kids are getting jobs? What kind of salaries are they getting? And is our skilling working? So I think maybe at the academe level, I hope to see more of that intentionality. On the private sector side, working alongside with the private sector who would hire those kids, providing the inputs of, well, if you have this curriculum and you demonstrate these capabilities, we will hire from your university, we will recruit from your university, and we will continue to give you feedback on how to teach better. And I think maybe from government, maybe one idea would be intentionality on the types of investments, investors, and jobs that we want to create, right? So if you want, Microsoft to commit to 20,000 AI jobs, government, show me how you're going to, what is going to be your part, and where do we get those skills, and how do we work together to have that pathway for us to both be successful in creating those jobs here in the country. So I haven't seen as much intentionality. I've seen a lot of skilling happening. I've seen a lot of conversation and heard a lot of conversations around new policies and regulations, but I'm not seeing as much translating to, hey, it was able to, create this kind of opportunities for these kids, and these companies moved in here because of those resources.
Intentionality, that's really going to be my takeaway for this, our conversation today. But that is it for today's show. I'm Jack Madrid. Thank you so much to our valued guest, Peter Maquera, CEO of Microsoft Philippines, for sharing your perspectives with us. Catch us again tomorrow for more enlightening discussions on Industry Beacon. You can catch BNC on Free TV Channel 31 and on Signal Channel 24. Thank you for watching BNC, the Billionario News Channel, always on top.